Hey, what is up guys? It's Stan with the Apple News Update. So today we have a lot to discuss because Apple dropped a bunch of news on us this morning. They decided to go ahead and launch a bunch of products without a keynote, and perhaps this is because they decided to go ahead and cancel their March keynote event because of social distancing and whatnot. So without the keynote, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt on the Apple website to figure out what exactly they launched that's new this morning. So first up, what we got are brand new iPad Pros. Now, if you recall, the last generation of the iPad Pros came out at the end of 2018, so it's been over a year and a half since those have come out. So what we have now are the early 2020 iPad Pros in 11-inch and 12.9 inches, and they come in capacities of 128, 256, 512, and brand new 1 terabyte capacities. They have brand new cameras with a 10 megapixel ultra wide and a regular 12 megapixel wide, and there's a third camera which is a LiDAR scanner for augmented reality. It looks like Apple's really diving deep into augmented reality, and this new LiDAR scanner is gonna be even better at projecting or even better at scanning things in the room, and it looks from their commercial or from their trailer, it looks like it's a pretty stable, pretty effective augmented reality experience. We'll have to see that once we get that in our hands though. Additionally, the processor has been updated. So if you recall, the previous iPad Pros had A12X Bionic processors. It looks like they've updated those to A12Z Bionic processors. Seeing as we're still on the number 12, it looks like it might be an incremental update as opposed to brand new. I'm not exactly sure, but they do claim that it is still faster than most PC laptops and that it has 8 cores of graphics capability or graphics processing cores, and that it can do 4K editing and 3D design work and augmented reality work. So it's supposed to be very, very powerful. And based off of my 12.9-inch iPad Pro from last generation, the 2018 version, I would agree. I haven't had any slowdowns. It's been great. So if it's even more powerful than that, it'll be a very good iPad. One of the best features of the new iPad are the new keyboards. What we have is the standard smart keyboard and then a standard smart folio keyboard, but there is a brand new Magic keyboard that has an all new floating design. It's super cool, and it has a pass-through USB-C charging capability, so you plug it into the keyboard and your iPad gets charged as well, and the keyboard is backlit, and it's got some interesting scissor switches. Additionally, it has a trackpad on the front, so it's going to give the iPad Pro the ability to scroll and the ability to move a little cursor and just productivity. And when you're typing, I think it's going to be much better experience with the trackpad, so that you don't actually have to keep on pushing, clicking or pressing on the screen to be able to make your edits and changes. You're going to have much better granularity to move that cursor exactly where you want it to be able to, for example, type out an email and whatnot. So I think that's going to be a very good improvement to the iPad Pro. Now, unfortunately, the Magic Keyboard for this iPad Pro isn't going to be out until May, sometime in May. So the Smart Keyboard and the Folio cover doesn't have the trackpad. It's only the Magic Keyboard that has the trackpad. So, like I said, I picked up the iPad Pro 11-inch, and I'm going to have to wait all the way until May to pick the Magic Keyboard up with the trackpad, and we'll take a look at that as well at that time. I think it's going to change how people use the iPad, to be honest, because Apple has been really resistant about giving us a touchscreen laptop or making that iPad that next level of productivity or capability. But with the trackpad, it seems like they're stepping back and giving us a little bit more Mac-like capabilities on the iPad. So that's going to be a very refreshing change. Now, if you order today, according to the website, they're shipping and arriving next Wednesday. I've already actually put in my order for the 11-inch iPad Pro, so I'll have it in about a week from now. Now, since all Apple stores are closed, ordering online and shipping seems to be your only option to be able to get one of these iPad Pros. Now, next up is the update to the Mac Minis. Now, there was only a little modest update for the Mac Minis. They changed the storage options and gave you a base capacity of 256 gigs as opposed to 128. And then the upgraded or the premium version is the 512 gig, up from 256. So they've doubled the capacity. Besides that though, the processor and everything else seems to be exactly the same, and the capabilities are the same. It doesn't seem like we've got the 10th generation CPUs in the Mac Minis. Maybe we'll get an update of the Mac Minis when we get the update with the new 13 or 14-inch MacBook Pros that we've talked about previously. Perhaps sometime closer to WWDC. Other thing that was updated today was the MacBook Airs. Now, we got the brand new Comet Lake CPUs, or 10th generation CPUs in the MacBook Airs. What we have now are i3, i5, and i7 CPUs. And Apple is claiming a doubling of performance and 80% increase in graphics capability. You know how these numbers are, they're kind of unclear and whatever. I wouldn't take Apple at its word, but what is clear is the Iris Plus graphics in the Comet Lake processors are much more powerful than the previous generation graphics processors. So with the MacBook Air, where you don't have a dedicated graphics card, the integrated graphics being 80% or substantially faster is going to be a very big plus. Now, what that also means is that the MacBook Air is now capable of outputting 6K output to the brand new XDR Pro display. The display now indicates that it is now compatible with the brand new MacBook Airs. So just plug in the Thunderbolt 3 and it should work. It looks like the MacBook Air storage has also been upgraded. You get either 256 or 512 in the original base configurations, and it's all the way upgradable to 2 terabytes. So that's quite a bit more storage than the previous 2018 MacBook Airs. One of the biggest new features for the MacBook Air is the new scissor switch keyboard that seemed to have trickled down from the 16-inch MacBook Pros. Now, I've got a 16-inch MacBook Pro right here, and I absolutely love the keyboard. So it is a very refreshing and very good change that now we've got the new MacBook Airs with this keyboard. It's going to be less failures, and the whole typing experience is going to be much better. In terms of connectivity, the Bluetooth has been updated to Bluetooth 5.0. That's probably part of the chipset and part of the CPU. Nothing surprising there. And that's about it for the MacBook Air. So MacBook Airs, it's been almost a year and a half since they've been updated, and now is a great time to pick up this machine because it's been basically updated to the latest and greatest. 10th gen Intel CPUs and a decent amount of storage. 512 is getting to a pretty usable capacity, and of course you can upgrade it to over 2 terabytes if you want. I'm actually curious to see what you guys are picking up. I'm going to throw a poll right up here to see if you guys are going to pick up the 13-inch MacBook Air, the 2020 version, or are you guys waiting for the 14-inch MacBook Pros coming out later this year, or something else such as the 16-inch MacBook Pro or iMac or whatever. Or comment down below to tell me what you guys are picking up. Really curious to find out. Now, in other news, it looks like Apple has canceled WWDC and actually changed WWDC into a virtual program, virtual conference only. So it's probably just going to be a keynote, and you'll watch it online. So right now is March, right? So we're probably not going to get any new products until WWDC, and WWDC is where we're most likely going to get that 14-inch MacBook Pro. Seeing as we already got an update on the Mac Minis, I'm not exactly sure. I'm still crossing my fingers for 10th generation CPUs and an update refresh for the Mac Minis as well at WWDC. We'll probably also see a update of the 16-inch MacBook Pros. Actually, don't quote me on that because Comet Lake H CPUs, I have to double check to be honest when that exactly comes out. But once those CPUs hit the market, we'll probably see those in the 16-inch MacBook Pros as well. And then we'll probably also see the AirTags that we've been hearing about at WWDC as well. I think this year's WWDC is going to be a very interesting one, and it's going to have a lot of interesting new products. So We'll have to stay tuned for that. Anyway, that wraps up this week's news update. I'll see you in the next one.